how soon do you want to bring the tariffs on Chinese goods?
Well, that depends on them. If we just set the tariff, it's something that we think that will happen, I'd say, over the next couple of weeks. Wouldn't you say? I think so. Over the next 2-3 weeks. China has been judging us massive tariffs for many years.
As President Trump there speaking about China tariffs. For more on this, let's bring in news desk editor Jill Disis. So President Trump there saying that, well, they speak with China every day on this. Any signs of concrete progress, though?
No, I mean, Paul, I think what you're seeing here now, right, is this kind of U-turn on China play out really before our eyes in front of these cameras here. I mean, you've got Trump who, obviously has this 145% tariff on China, plus, various other, punitive measures, that he's taken here, saying that China needs to come to the negotiating table. Well, we don't really have a ton of evidence that we've got concrete negotiations happening between the U.S. and China right now, other than Trump there musing, they need to come to the table, maybe give them a good deal. But it does kind of show you this really tremendous pressure that is built, not just because of all the volatility that we've seen in markets, in the bond market, some of that pressure on the dollar, but also a lot of the kind of feedback that Trump has really gotten on these really enormous tariffs here. You can kind of see, sort of his thinking here evolve on that almost in real time. I mean, a lot of this sort of walk back on China, or this indication that tariffs could come down fairly substantially on China, is coming just in the wake of a meeting that Trump actually had with a lot of major retailers in the United States just a couple of days ago. He was meeting with representatives from Wal-Mart, from Home Depot, from Target, from these other, massive retailers, kind of warning Trump of the really kind of, near calamitous effect that tariffs could have on the economy, on sort of, consumer demand and that kind of thing. And now you've got Trump saying that, there's, maybe room to negotiate there with China. But again, all of this is just kind of uncertain and in flux until we actually see some concrete progress. That's a long way of answering your question, Paul, but ultimately, yeah, I mean, we're still waiting on some kind of tangible sign of, the idea of China and the U.S. inching toward a deal here.